everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Pinkprettiez Yarns Podcast. Today I will be talking about some finished projects. I will be talking about my works in progress, some of the yarn that I dyed that is now available in my shop, and also I will be doing a little craft room tour. I spent the last 2 to 3 weeks tidying and painting my craft room, and I want to show you the results. I made a separate small video showing you the before and the after, and hopefully you'll enjoy watching my craft room and what it looks like now. There still needs some tidying to be done, but the overall room is done so far. It's just the little things that need to be tidied and put in place, and well, just small things. Let me start off by telling you what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing the Wool and Honey Sweater. It's a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and what I especially like about this pattern are the elongated stitches, and they form like a honeycomb pattern. I think it's really nice when you knit it. It looks quite complicated, but once you get the hang of the stitches, it's really quite easy to knit up. What I especially liked about this pattern is that it has a wide fit, and that is my favorite, so I decided to knit it. I knit the size S, but I still think that it looks really big, so maybe if I knit it again, I would pick smaller needles. I think the 3.5mm needles that I picked for this project may have been a bit too big, but well, as you may know, I never swatch, so that's what you get when you don't swatch, but I like the outcome very much. I also like the ribbing on the sleeves. It's quite long, longer than usual, and the reason I picked out this pattern is because of the model, the shape of it. I really love these kind of sleeves. So you start from the top, you knit the yoke, and the yoke has all the honeycomb pattern in it, and then just the body and the sleeves. I really enjoyed knitting it. It was a lovely project. It wasn't too difficult, but it did need your attention to get the right placement for the honeycomb pattern. So if you are looking for a sweater which has a roomy fit, then this might be it. I've also heard people that weren't too happy about the shaping, and if you look at the images of the sweater on Instagram, for example, you might notice that it just looks very different on different people, depending on the size you knit, the length of the body, everything. But I like the way mine turned out. I knit it in Katja sock yarn. Let me see if I can show you. This yarn is a blend of wool, alpaca and nylon. It's really soft. It's just really nice yarn to knit with. I washed it and it seemed just fine. I also knit the bear in the same yarn. I had some leftovers from this sweater, so I knit the bear with it as well. I knit that one on smaller needles, so the fabric is quite different. But anyway, it's a nice sweater to knit, and I'm pleased with it. A project that I finished a while ago, last week, a few days ago, are the socks that I started when I filmed the last episode. The self-striping socks with yarn from Atelier Citron. I enjoyed this knit. The toes and heels, as I said before, are commercial yarn, of which I forgot the brand, but the rest of the sock was self-striping yarn. I enjoyed knitting with this yarn, especially the colors are my favorite. I first did a ribbing with 2 knit stitches and 1 purl stitch, which turned out quite funny, so I ended up starting over again and just did the regular 2x2 ribbing, and I did 4 color stripes of ribbing. So these are quite longer than I usually knit my socks, but I really do like this fit, so next time I will be knitting longer socks. Nice socks to knit, and I've worn them because I knit them on the smaller needles, and it turned out that I did knit quite tight with them, as it turned out, but the fit was still pretty good, so I'm just going to keep them like this. It's just vanilla socks with 58 stitches and an afterthought heel, starting from the toe up. So I made a pair, yay! Quite happy with how these turned out. Let me see if this is the one that was smaller than the other. No, I don't think so. I think it's this one. But the fit was quite right for me. So yes, I'm very pleased with how they turned out. I also finished another sock. I finished that one a while ago, but well, I kind of lost my knitting mojo on these, even though they look pretty nice. These are the arius socks, and it's a pattern from this book. You probably have seen this before, 52 Weeks of Socks by Lana Magazine. And it's the pattern on page 200, I believe. It's this one. It's a really lovely pattern. And what I was drawn to is the fact that the stitches are inside out, because you knit the sock inside out, so you get these stitches on the outside. What I also enjoyed knitting is the edging, which is, well, it took me a while to understand the pattern, but when I did, it was quite easy to knit. I put in heels with a different color, which was, I think, it was just yarn from Aldi supermarket. I bought it years ago when I just started out knitting, and well, it looked pretty nice with the yarn I had. The sock itself is knit in my own hand-dyed yarn, and this is the colorway called Alfie. The colorway was inspired by the character Tom Hardy plays, Alfie Solomons. He plays it in Peaky Blinders, and I think he does an amazing job playing Alfie, and I think Alfie is a brilliant character. So I think these colors represent him pretty well, especially with the brown colors. I will be knitting, of course, another one, but I had slight issues with all the patterns in the book. As I said before, my feet are quite small, so 60 stitches on 2mm needles are too big, so I had to go down, but all the patterns in the book are written for 60 stitches, so it took me quite some maths to find out how to adjust the pattern so it would fit my foot, and it's still quite big, but it's okay. I enjoy the pattern, especially because it looks different than just my regular vanilla socks, which I usually knit. And I think combined with this color, it just makes a really pretty sock. I didn't, I did knit the heel that was in the book. I had plans not to, but I did. I ended up knitting it anyway, and it's a nice heel. I think overall that I would recommend this pattern, but well, if you usually knit your socks in 60 stitches, then you won't have any trouble. If you knit smaller or bigger, and going down or up in needle size isn't an option, then you just need to find out how to adjust the pattern so you can make it fit. That was the only problem I had with these patterns. Let me tell you a bit about the book though, because the book itself is just really, it's amazing. It's lovely. I really enjoyed just browsing through the book because the pictures are really very, very nice. Just let me flick through it. I just think that it is worth your money, and it's just a lovely book to browse through. It has lots of different patterns for you to choose from, and you can really tell that they put lots of effort into putting all the patterns together and taking the beautiful pictures. So as I said, lots of lovely patterns, and I would definitely recommend this book. It's a lovely book to have in your collection. Next up, I showed you last week that I started knitting another sweater by Locatelli, and I already told you that my progress would not be very quick because it's just stockinette stitch for lots of length. But, well, as you can see, I did quite some. So this is, this length is like one skein or one ball of yarn. So I'm getting a bit worried if I have enough because I still have 2 balls of yarn. So I'll just have to see. I knit this sweater before with just 3 skeins of hand-dyed yarn, which was the same amount of yarn that I have right now. So it should work out, but I was kind of surprised by how little I had done with that one ball. So I'll just have to see, and I knit this one a size S, and I think the first one I did was size M, so I probably should be okay. And I also plan to knit a cropped version, so a shorter version. So I think that I should be alright, but I am a bit worried because I would have thought, I would have expected that I would have knit a bit more than this. But this has been getting pretty much all of my attention the past few days. What I started doing was trying a different method of knitting, because usually I pick my stitches. So let me see, where are the needles? I dropped some stitches. Usually I pick my stitches, which, well, is a pretty fast way of knitting, I think. But when I checked my knitting, I thought it was pretty loose. It wasn't very even. So this is how I normally knit. I just pick my stitches. But when I finished the stripy socks, I had done a different version of knitting, which was the flicking method. And I ended up with pretty tight stitches. So I thought maybe I would give the flicking method a try for this sweater. And, well, you just wrap your yarn around with your index finger. And, well, I'm still getting used to it, and I'm not as quickly as I am with the other method. But I did notice that my stitches were a lot more even. I don't know if it will show up on camera, but you can see that on the bottom the stitches aren't very even and it's a bit messy. I think it will block out. And you see that the knitting that I did with the flicking method, well, it looks a lot more even. For a moment I thought maybe I should start the sweater over and just only use the flicking method to get my stitches more even, but I didn't feel like starting over again. So hopefully this will block out and I will end up with a lovely sweater to wear. Sometimes I find these kind of these kinds of projects a bit overwhelming, you know, just all stockinette stitch for lots of rows. But what has really helped me is to think about the finished project, because I cannot wait to finish this one and wear it. Because whenever it's on my lap, you know, I usually wear black jeans. You see, that looks pretty amazing. So I just think about the finished project, and then I'm like, yeah, go on, knit a few more rows, and then, well, I just keep going. But with the rows over 300 stitches, well, it just takes a while. But as you can see, I've done quite a bit the past week. So I think I'm knitting this one a lot quicker than my first sweater. This was the boxy sweater by Locatelli. I will link it down below. I also talked about it in the episode before this one, the second episode. So if you want to check it out, I also talk about it there. Hopefully in the next month or so I will be able to finish this one. I probably won't wear it because it will be summertime by then, but well, who knows. We also had a lot of rain today and it's pretty cold, so I was able to wear my sweater today. So the weather here, well, nothing predictable about it. That was my work in progress. Let me get on to the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, because I didn't have a lot of knitting content this week. I've been busy doing my craft room, I've been busy dyeing yarn, and I did a bit of knitting, but not too much. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the yarns that are in my shop right now. And I just brought a few skeins to show you. The yarn basis that I love working with is superwash merino nylon, which gives the yarn the softness but also durability. So this is a colorway I did with purples and teals and some soft green, pastel green. Nice color, I think. What I also love dyeing is purple yarns. I don't know why, I love the color. This one is a purple one with some brown speckles and some blues, very, very little blue in there. Another one that is in the shop is this one. It's a brown color with, it's a speckled yarn, which I always enjoy dyeing. It has blue and purple speckles. And the last one I wanted to show you is this one, which was inspired by a client who asked me to dye up, well, a colorway like this one. And it has like a denim kind of color with brown, which I think would really make a nice pair of socks or anything else you would like to knit. I have two of these in my shop, so I have, well, if you're looking for a bit more yarn, then that one has two skeins of it. What I also wanted to talk about, because not many people know that I also do some sewing, and I have some project bags in my shop right now, and I wanted to show you. This one is a Japanese pattern, and it's just a very nice bag for smaller projects. You just pull this handle through, and then you have like a bag to carry around on your wrist. I find this kind of bag perfect for knitting on the go, because you can just wear it around your wrist, have your knitting in here, and then you just knit while walking the dog or whatever. It has a black and white lining. And I also have a few bigger project bags with a zip, and they all have a boxy shape. This one has teapots on it with a denim, a jeans lining. And I also have that one in pink with flamingos, also with the same black and white lining. And I also have that one in teacups or coffee cups. A pink one with polka dots lining. So that is pretty much all the stuff you can find in my Etsy shop right now. I do have some yarn that I still need to put in there, so I'm really sorry, but I've just been really busy the past few weeks with dyeing yarn and doing other things. But I'm sure that I will get around to it eventually, and I will let you know on Instagram or in my podcast. So anyway, that was all that I wanted to talk about this episode. I'm sorry that I don't have a lot of content for you this week. Hopefully next week or in 2 weeks I will have some more content for you. But in the meantime, enjoy my craft room tour before and after. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Let me show you around in my craft room where I dye my yarn and I do some knitting. This is the before picture. As you can tell, it's still quite messy. Lots of things that need cleaning up and rearranging. The wall needs painting as well. So I still have lots to do. And this is the after. Welcome in my craft room. I painted all the walls in a minty color. I added a few extra storage space for my books and my yarn and everything. There's my spinning wheel. I also put in a large desk which I can work from. You can see all the yarn that I dyed. I need to label it before I get to send it off. And this is my, the station where I dye my yarn. And as you can see, I still don't have enough room. So this corner needs tidying. This is also where I record my podcasts. And I'm about to record one. So I'll see you.